So hi all, welcome back to our SSCMA classes. So yes, we are going to continue our GT classes, and here I am with two more questions. Okay, so first one is very simple and second one is also simple, but we have some more points so that we can easily cover them and we can easily able to understand them properly. Okay, so yes, let's get started. Here illustration 2 says the computation, we have to find out the computation of total income and tax liability. Number first says about the XYZ Limited is engaged in business of manufacturing plastic bottles, and its P&L account shows the net profit of 60 lakh for the year ended 31st March 2023 after debiting and crediting the following items. Here, the very first point is 75 lakh being expenses incurred on traveling of wife of managing director. Now, the very first question comes in our mind. Usually, what happens? The business expenses is allowed, right? This is the revenue expenditure which is related to, which is done because of business. Okay, so here first of all, let me complete the sentence, then we'll continue this. Okay, 75 lakh being expenses incurred on traveling of whom? Of the wife of managing director, who accompanied him on the tour to Beijing on invitation of Trade and Commerce Chamber, China. We know if any of the expenditure is done due to business, that is going to be allowed. That is the revenue expenditure. Okay, so right now there is one confusion. This expenditure is done on whom? Wife of managing director. So first of all, we have to understand, is this done because of business? The wife was really important for the business? Yes. Okay, as they are saying, the traveling of wife of managing director who is accompanied him on this tour, okay, on invitation of Trade and Commerce Chamber. So definitely this is going to be allowed. Okay, there is one case law also related to this part. Next, second says about the 10,000 and 15,000 rupees paid in cash. Now we know up to 10,000 it's allowed under section कौन सा वाला? Section 40A subsection 3. ठीक है, so yes, 40A3, no subsection 3. Okay, so here as it exceed the limit which is 10,000, the amount is 25,000, it's in cash, so it's not going to be allowed. We have to add back this now. Yes, by two separate vouchers to the contractor who carried out the certain repair of the work in the office premises. So you have to tell me what is the limit. Normally this is the limit 10,000, okay, but there is some other limit for the transporter. Okay, so what is that limit? You have to guess and you have to comment below if you know that. Okay, so yes, they comes the third point, one time license fee, okay, 10 lakh, and we know this is just due to what, which is related to business. Now we have to understand, is this going to be the capital or the revenue? Definitely it's going to be capital now. So yes, the one time license is to be add back in that case. Okay, 10 lakh paid to the foreign company for obtaining franchise. This is going to be the intangible asset, right? So here we are going to get the depreciation at the rate of 25%. Okay, now we have to identify whether it's for more than 180 days or less than 180 days. More than, then it's going to be 25%, less than, in that case 50% of the 25%. ठीक है जी, let's go for the point 4. 5 lakh rupees paid to X Limited toward the feasibility study. Okay, so is it going to be allowed as deduction, as revenue expenditure or not? Yes, as they are saying about, we know revenue expenditure is going to be allowed in case of business, right? And this feasible study is revenue expenditure. So yes, this part is allowed. Okay, fifth part, dividend of rupees 3,50,000 received from the foreign company, okay, in which XYZ hold 28% in nominal value of equity share capital of the company. As we know, the dividend which is to be add back, right? Okay, now you have to tell me the what is we are going to do. Okay, and there is one more point written here. Okay, are we going to add back this dividend? Yes, or we are going to less that dividend. Okay, and second thing, 25,000 is spent on the earning to earn this income, the dividend income. So are we going to get any deduction this expenses which is related to dividend income 25,000 or not? No. Okay, this 25,000 is going to be straight added. Okay, it's going to be straight back added. Okay, so what about this dividend amount? It's going to be reduced less, okay, and it's going to be add back in other sources wala income. Okay, so let's go for the depreciation, as this is depreciation on tangible fixed asset 1,50,000. अपने को पता है what is going to be the adjustment, right? Plus होगा, right? And then what about the minus वाला? Let's see. Okay, here is 5 lakh and 1,50,000 being amount waived by the bank or out of principal and the arrear interest. Okay, what about the interest? Are we going to get any deduction related to principal amount or interest amount or both? Okay, guess. I'll tell you in the question itself, but you have to guess. Okay, next is about the 8th. This we know, provision for the gratuity based on the actuarial valuation 5 lakh and the actual gratuity paid 1,50,000 was debited to the provision for the gratuity account. So yes, we are going to take the difference amount, right? There was one case study now, you have to guess it. Okay, here comes the point, the opening and closing stock wala. Okay, in last previous question we discussed about the overvaluation of opening and closing stock na, but in this question there is opening and closing stock of the year, which is this and this respectively, and their value is undervalued by 10% of the cost. Okay, in last question it was overvalued by 10% of the cost, right? So what we did the treatment in the previous question, into 10 divided by 110, we know, right? So in this case of undervalued, it's going to be the same, into 10 divided by 90. Okay, 90, not 110 or 100, we know this. Okay, so yeah, there are some of the additional information given here. Provision for the audit fees of 1 lakh was made in book of the year ended without deducting the tax, without deducting the TDS wala part. So what is going to happen? 30% is going to be disallowed na? Yes. So iska 30% is going to be disallowed. Such fees was paid to the auditor in September 2022 after deducting tax under 194, and so the tax so deductive was deposited on the 7th of October, right? So yes, we know the treatment well. Let's go for the other point. During the year, company purchased 5,000 shares of RK Private Limited at 20 per share. The fair market value is going to be 40, right? This transaction is done between the related party transaction, we know. Okay, so what is going to be happen? Difference 40 minus 20 into 5,000. What the same thing what we done in the last wala question, previous wala question, there was the same point. Okay, here comes the depreciation on the tangible fixed asset as per the income tax. It's going to be reduced. Okay, a debt of 8 lakh was claimed. Same point we have already discussed ना, बस थोड़ा बहुत ऊपर नीचे है, 19-20 का फर्क है. A debt of 8 lakh was claimed as a bad debt. ठीक है, in the previous year 21-22, but the assessing officer allowed only 4 lakh as a bad debt. In the previous year 22-23, 3 lakh was recovered in the debt respect of the effect of recovery of the bad debt was not even in book of. So what is going to happen? The difference, right, of 1 lakh, what are we going to do? Add back or less? Comment below, you have to think. Okay, so yes, that's it, nothing more guys. Compute the total income and tax payable, giving the reason for the treatment of each. Turnover is 420 crore. So what is going to be tax rate? 30%. Yes. Ignore the provision minimum 11BA, and it's going to be for 15 marks, and it was a question of 2014. So yes, let's get started guys. Okay, so let's do it very quickly. Okay, in rough. Here we are going. Okay, so we have 60 lakh ka net profit. Okay, so yes, we have taken that 60 lakh. So what about this 75 lakh? Are we going to take this? No. Expenses on traveling. Let's go for the working note first. Okay, expenses on traveling, which is related to first of all here wife. Okay, yes, it is going to be allowed. okay, because this was related to business now. Yes, so this part is going to be allowed, so no treatment, no adjustment is going to be happen in this case. Okay, so let's get started very quickly, guys. Okay, expenses on traveling of the wife of managing director, being ye wala part, on the invitation of trade and commerce chamber to the China, is allowable expenses for the purpose of business. And there was a case study related to this part, which is Hero Honda Motors Limited versus CIT. Okay, so don't forget to mention this. Let's go for the other parts. This 10,000 and 15,000 paid in cash, this is going to be add back. As we know, this exceeds the limit. Okay, so yes, 25,000 is mentioned here. What about the one time license, which is 10 lakh, which is paid to the foreign company? Yes, this is going to be add back. Okay, so yes, we have taken this 10 lakh. And what about the depreciation? We are going to claim that depreciation. So yes, depreciation yahan pe hai. Okay, 25% of 10 lakh being which is used for more than 180 days, right? So yes, 2,50,000 is the depreciation amount for the intangible asset. Let's go for the other point. Yes, we have taken this. What about the 5 lakh? Is it going to be allowable? Yes, this is a revenue expenditure feasible study. Okay, so what about the dividend of 3,50,000, which is received from the domestic foreign company, foreign company. Okay, so this 25,000 is going to be add back, right? Because we are not going to get any of the deduction which is related to the dividend income. Okay, this is the expenditure which is done by this person or company. Okay, so this expenditure we cannot claim as a deduction here. And 3,50,000, so here we have taken the add back the 25,000 expenditure which is done on dividend. Okay, and the dividend amount is to be reduced. Okay, one more adjustment is there. Okay, and that adjustment is ye rah, okay, dividend from the foreign company of which had income from the other sources. Okay, we have taken 325,000 here, as 3,50,000 is the dividend income amount. Okay, and 25,000 was the expenditure done here. So we have taken 3,25,000 here. Okay, so hope so there was no as much confusion. Okay, this depreciation is going to be add back. Okay, so here this, as this is the similar question, similar points, so I don't think so there would be much confusion in this part. Okay, so yes, that's why I'm not going in depth now, as I have already discussed the adjustment and all. Okay, so yes, let's go for the other point. 5 lakh and 1,50,000 being the amount waived by the bank. Okay, out of the principal amount, and this the 1,50,000 is going to be the interest amount. So here we have taken the 1,50,000. Okay, 1,50,000 being the waiver of the interest. Okay, this is going to be reduced. Okay, for this let's read out. Because this is something new for us. Okay, so let's go for the working note number 6. Since the loan is meeting working capital requirement, it is logical to assume that it is taken for the trading activity. However, the treatment is different in respect of interest on loan. Since the interest on such loan would have not been allowed as deduction in the earlier year as section 43B due to the non-payment of such interest, waiver of interest will not be taxable. Okay, since 1,50,000 representing interest waiver has already credited to the P&L account, the same has to be deducted for computing the business income. Okay, so hope so this point was clear, and we have reduced the amount waiver of interest wala part. Okay, so hope so this point was also clear. Let's go for the gratuity point, 8th wala point. The gratuity based on the actual valuation 5 lakh, and what about the actual paid, that is going to be 1,50,000. So the difference between we are going to add back this. Hope so there was nothing much now. So yes, let's go for the other point, guys. The opening and closing stock. Okay, we are going to take, as we know, there are going to be two adjustment. We can either go for any of them. Okay, first we can go for individual adjustment or by taking the difference between them. So here I'm going for the difference. Okay, 18,72,000 which is closing stock, reduce the opening stock. Okay, the difference is going to be 72,000. Okay, here as the question mentioned that undervalued, it is undervalued both the stock. both the stock is undervalued by कितना percent, 10%, ठीक है. So into 10 divide by 90, so that's going to be 8,000. It is to be add back, ठीक है. Hope so. Yes, this was also clear. So what we have done in case of वो वाला overvalued, it's almost same, ठीक है. So yes, there was difference of rate वाला. Okay, so let's go for the additional part. Audit fees of 1 lakh. What are we going to do? As TDS was not deducted, 30% disallowed, right? Yes. So ये रहा provision of the audit fees allowable in the year of payment as per section 40 subsection A clause IA, which is 30,000, being 30% was disallowed. Okay. So yes, hope so. Up to this everything is clear, guys. During the year the company purchased 5,000 share. This is also the same thing, right? So we are going to take 40 less 20 and into 5,000, which is 1 lakh. Okay, so yes, this 1 lakh is to be reduced. Okay, so yes, we have done most of the points. There are only few. This depreciation of this is to be reduced, we know this, okay? And this what is going to happen, 4 lakh and 3 lakh, the bad debt wala amount, okay, this is going to be reduced, the same thing. Okay, so do we have something remaining? No, most of we have already covered all of the things, okay? So we know what is going to the rate, 30%. Let's do it now, okay? We're just evaluating whether we have missed any of the point or not, okay? This is done, this is done, this is done, this is done. Yes, almost everything is done. Yes, this part, yes, which I already discussed, and which this is the depreciation of which is mentioned in the question. Okay, so yes, that's it. There was nothing as much new, only 1 or 2 hardly point. Okay, so yes, we know what is going to be the taxable rate for the normal, and for the surcharge, is it going to be applicable? As no, nothing, there was no limit of the total income and all, otherwise it's going to be applicable. Okay, and 4% HEC. Okay, so yes, this was a easy busy question. Okay, let's go for the second question, which means third question. आज का second and total वैसे third. ठीक है, so yes, let's go for this question now. Computation of total income and tax liability. Preeta Motor Limited is engaged in manufacturing and selling of the cars, having an annual turnover of 500 lakh. The net profit of the company as per the P&L account for the year 31st March 2023 is rupees 1,50,000 after debiting or crediting the following items. So here we have one time, same point, one time license fees, which is 20 lakh paid to the foreign company. It's going to be add back. And what about the depreciation are we going to get? Yes, we know this. Okay, so we can definitely claim 25% depreciation, and as the day is exceeding 180 days, right? The date is mentioned here. Okay, so yes, which is simply saying which is more than 180 days, right? So yes, 25% depreciation is going to be allowed. Okay, dividend of 12 lakh received from the foreign company. Yes, we know the treatment now. Okay, and this 50,000 was expenditure, so this expenditure is going to be add back, and dividend ka 12 lakh is to be reduced, and the difference between these two, ठीक है, 12 lakh less 50,000 like 11,50,000, ठीक है, which is going to be added in other sources वाला part. ठीक है, so this feasible वाला part, this is also the same point. Okay, so are we going to get the deduction? Yes, this is going to be the revenue expenditure, and revenue expenditure is allowable as a deduction now. Okay, let's go for the fourth point. Payment due to the railway for the use of the asset for transportation of a car during financial year 22-23. The company is likely to make a payment in the month of December 2 lakh. ठीक है, so this is something new to us. Okay, let's go for this other part. Contribution made to the approved research association used for the purpose of research in social science or statistical research under section 35 subsection 1 clause 3 of kitna 1 lakh. Okay, hope so we know the treatment. Okay, let's go for the other point. 6 points is about the depreciation. We know the treatment. Yes, and here comes the opening and closing stock of opening of 90 lakh, closing of 68, and they were overvalued. We know the treatment well. Okay, so this 18,000 and 12,000 payment is done in cash. So again this is going to be disallowed 40A sub 3 part 3. ठीक है. So this, as this exceeds कितना 10,000, so it's going to be add back. Legal fees incurred in defending title of a factory premises of 3 lakhs. Okay, so is this going to be allowable as a deduction or not? This is something new now, I guess. Is this was in last question or not? Okay, but the other point is new to us. Profit of rupees 3 lakh from the hedging contract entering into for meeting out of the loss in the foreign currency payment toward an importing business, imported machinery purchase from Germany of 90 lakh, which was installed in 20 December 2022. Let me read it again, okay? Because there is two things. The question is saying two things. First, they are saying there is a profit from hedging contract which is entered into a meeting out of loss in a foreign currency payment toward an importing machinery which was purchased from Germany for kitna 90 lakh. Okay, so for importing that machinery they incurred the profit, okay, of 3 lakh. So they are going to be the adjustment for these two, okay, and they would be depreciation also, okay, and we have to understand whether we are going to get the additional depreciation and all, okay, as they are saying this is installed on 20 December 2022. First of all, you have to understand, is the machinery installed and used for more than 180 days or not, as they are saying less than, okay. So yes, we'll get the 50%. Okay, let's go for the other point. The company during the year employed 100 new workers. 100 new workers, additional वाला 80 है ना, हाँ deduction वाला. So the company during the year employed 100 new workers in the factory, which was 15% of the existing workforce employed on the last day during the earlier year, and it paid 15 lakh as additional wages. So yes, the workmen were employed on 1st 5 2022. Okay, we'll get to know in this question what we are going for the treatment. This says, the other point says 12th, profit on sale of land which is of 20 lakh. Okay, so this is also something new to us. Provision for the warranty is made for all the vehicles sold on scientific and reliable basis for the replacement of some spares. Fees are free of cost. The statistical data indicate that without such warranty, no customer is prepared to buy a vehicle. Let's go for the additional information. Normal depreciation 22, and additional depreciation on plant and machinery which is imported, okay, and installed during the December has not been considered. So definitely we are going to take the additional depreciation, right? So while calculating the depreciation as per income tax 1961 as above, the company is not eligible for any of the deduction under section 35AD. As we know, we have done the special treatment for the very first question, very first illustration, ठीक है ना, in the very first case wala, for the for claiming deduction under section 35AD and depreciation wala. Okay, so they are saying they are not eligible for this deduction under section 35AD. So we are not going for that treatment. Here the C point says the land sold during the year for the 70 lakh. ठीक है, the guideline value as per the stamp valuation is 70 lakh. Oh, sorry, this is going to be 60. Okay, and it was purchased by the company on 2014-15, and this was the only land available with the company. Acha, there was one point related to this wala part, the profit wala part. Let me take a different color. Okay, this wala part. Okay, the profit of sale of land which is from this land, ठीक है. So they are saying the value is going to be 60. Now we have to identify kaun sa value we are going to take. We are going to take the 60 wala part या 70 wala part. If the value exceeds actual value, kitna percent, 110%, in that case what we are going to take the stamp duty value, ठीक है. So here 60 into 110 which is 66, and this value is 70 lakh. Okay, this exceeds the actual value of 110%. So definitely we are going to take this part now. Yes, so we are going to take 70 lakh. Now the profit was of 20 lakh. So yes guys, what is going to be cost? 50 lakh. Okay, hope so this point is clear. We have cost of inflation index, which is for 2014-15. Okay, and compute and 22-23 के लिए भी है. Compute the total income and tax payable by the Pritham Motors Limited. Give reasons for the treatment of each items. Yes, because we want marks, so we will give the reasons. Okay, so for the assessment year 23-24 and ignore MAT provision, marks 16 marks, कितना बड़ा marks है ना. तो चलो करते हैं, आइए. So yes, we have क्या net profit with us. Okay, as we know this is a simple part. ठीक है. Okay, computation of the total income of the Pritham Motor Limited for assessment year 23-24, profit and gain of the business and profession. This is going to be head. Okay, we have to be presentable, we have to give a proper presentation of the answers, otherwise definitely the examiner is going to deduct the marks. I mean, they are not going to give us more marks, है ना. So yes, okay. So yes, net profit as per PNL is 150 lakh. So let's go for the other adjustment guys. This one time license 20 lakh. Are we going to add this? Yes, as we know this. ठीक है, पिछले वाले क्वेश्चन में भी था explanation. Are we going to get any depreciation of this 20 lakh? Yes. कितना percent? 5 lakh being a 25% of that. ठीक है. So ये रहा हमारा depreciation on one time license for being intangible asset. Let's go for the working note जल्दी. Depreciation being 25% has to be provided in respect of intangible asset since it has been used for more than 180 days during the previous year. Okay, so there was no as much thing mentioned which we don't know. Okay, so let's go for the third point. Third point says the second point. Okay, this part is done. Dividend of rupees 12 lakh received from the foreign company. We know the treatment well. What about this deduction, the expenditure? Are we going to get deduction? Na baba, na. Okay, so this 50,000 is to be add back, right? This 12 lakh is to be reduced. Okay, so there are two treatment, two adjustment is to be done in this adjustment. Okay, एक ही में दो part free. Okay, so let's see. First of all, this expenditure is not allowable. Okay, so yes, and what about that? I have to reduce it also ना. So ये रहा dividend वाला part. Okay, and one more adjustment कौन सा वाला part था? Other sources में जाएंगे ना. Yes, other sources में we are going to reduce it. 12 lakh reduce that expenditure, will get this answer 11,50,000. Okay जी, let's go for the explanation. Dividend of 12 lakh received from the foreign company is to be taxed under head income from other sources. That's why we have reduced it now. Okay, since the same has been credited to P&L account, it has to be it is to be deducted while computing the business income. Consequently, expenditure of rupees 50,000 related to the same which has been debited to the P&L account has to be added back. The expenditure incurred to earn dividend income shall be deducted while computing income from the other sources. Otherwise, we are not going to get the deduction. In normal case, we are not going to get the deduction of this. ठीक है, the expenditure which is incurred to earn the income, the dividend income. Okay, yes, but this expenditure income incurred to earn dividend income shall be deducted while computing the income from the other sources. Okay, so there are two treatment guys, don't leave one part. The same will be taxable at the rate of normal application वगैरह. Okay, let's go for the other point guys. Point says ये वाला, we know the treatment well, yaar, it's so easy. 6 lakh paid to the H Limited toward the feasibility study conducted for the examining proposal for technical advancement related to the existing business. However, the project was abandoned without creating a new asset. Okay, what about the feasible study wala? We are going to get the deduction. Okay, revenue expenditure है ना. Yes, let's go for the working note guys. जल्दी quick. Payment of rupees 6 lakh to H Limited toward the feasibility study conducted for examining proposals for the technical advancement relating to the existing business where the project was abandoned without creating a new asset is going to be allowable as the revenue expenditure. Okay, and there is one case study related to this part. CIT versus Priya Village Roadshow Limited. CIT versus Priya Village Roadshow Limited. Do mention this part, this case study and all. ठीक है, मार्क्स चाहिए अपने को, अच्छे बच्चे हैं अपन बहुत ज़्यादा. Okay, चलो let's go for the other point. Payment due to the railway for the use of asset for the transportation of a card during the financial year 2022-23. The company is likely to make the payment in the month of December. Okay, this payment is due, which is related to business for the use of asset of transportation, for being transporting the goods and all. Okay, so the company is like to make a payment and this payment is not made. This payment is going to be made in December wala part, December wala month. So yes, let's go for the treatment is done in this part. Payment due to railways for the use of railways asset, working note number 5, in which we have add back the amount of 2 lakh. But why so we have add back this? So let's find out. Sum payable to the Indian Railways for the use of railway asset is allowable as a deduction in the year. ठीक है, in the year in which the liability to pay such sum is incurred only if the payment is made before, on or before due date. As the question says, it is a liability and that payment is going to be paid on which month? December. ठीक है, which is likely to be paid, right? Definitely it's not paid. And second of all, it's done, the payment is going to be done after due date, है ना, not before or on. So yes, this deduction we are not going to get, we are not going to take. Okay, since the payment of 2 lakh is likely to be made in December 2023 after due date of filing return of the income, the same would be disallowed in previous year 22-23. Since the payment is debited to the P&L account, the same has to be added back. Okay, that's why we have add back this. Okay, but what if they have paid before due date? In that case, we will get a deduction and we are not going to add back this. Okay, hope so this point is clear. Let's go for the contribution made to the approved research association under the purpose of research in social science or statistical research under section 35(1) subsection 1. This is going to be allowable under section 35 subsection 1. Okay, so there would be no treatment as much done. Yes, so let's see what we have done here. Contribution made to the approved research association, working note number 6 says we have not taken this and we know we will get a deduction for the scientific research. Okay, so let's see what is this note saying. Contribution to approved research association for the social science or statistical research qualifies for the deduction of kitna 100% under section 35 subsection 1 clause 3. Since the said expenditure is already debited to the P&L account, has, in that case we are not going to do the adjustment. Okay, what if this point is related in additional information? Because additional information have not adjusted, in that case we will do the adjustment, right? We will get a deduction. Okay, in this case we are not going to do any of the adjustment because it is already adjusted in the question. Okay, and we will get a deduction of this. Okay, hope so this part was clear. Now let's go for the other. 6 point says the depreciation charge to P&L account kitna 20 lakh. Yes, we are going to add back this 20 lakh. We know we don't need any of the explanation in this case, right? Let's go for the other point. Opening balance and closing balance kitna 90 lakh and 60. Opening is 90, right? Closing is 68 and they are overvalued. Okay, so what is going to be the treatment now? Here overvaluation of opening stock is going to be opening and closing stock. Okay, as they have taken the difference. Okay, as I told you in earlier cases, we have also taken the difference and all. There are 2 cases, we can either go by any of them. Okay, so the amount by which the stock is overvalued has to be added. Okay, for the computing business income, which is difference of 90 lakh and which is opening balance, opening stock, and closing stock is 68 lakh. So the difference between opening and closing is going to be 22 lakh. Being the difference between opening and closing stock has to be adjusted to remove the effect of overvaluation. As I said, they have been overvalued, right? So 22 lakh into 10 divided by 110. divided by 110. So yes, they are going to be 2 lakh. The value is going to be 2 lakh. So yes, in this case, this 2 lakh is to be added back. Hope so this point was also clear. Okay, so let me mark so that I won't get any confusion here. Okay, so let's go for the other point, guys. Point 8 says the payment of 18,000 and 12,000 lakh nahi hai baba, by cash on 15th of February 2023 by the 2 separate vouchers to the contractor who carried out work at office premises. So yes, we know section 40A3 says क्या if the payment exceeds in cash more than 10,000, in that case that would be disallowed. Okay, if it was only 8,000, in that case now we'll get a deduction, but in this case what is going to be happen, as it exceeds the 10,000 limit, 18,000 plus 12,000 is going to 30 now. Yes, 30,000 is going to be add back. Okay, so let's see what is the treatment done in the question. This is added back. Okay, as we know the explanation, I don't think so we should go for it. Okay, let's go for the other part, guys. This legal fees incurred in defending title of factory premises of the company, 3 lakh. Are we going to get it as a deduction? Is this going to be the revenue expenditure? Let's see. So here ये रहा, ठीक है. Legal fees incurred for the defending the title of the factory is going to be the revenue expenditure, and we know revenue expenditure is going to be allowable as a deduction now. So let's go for the working note. What is this working note saying? Legal fees incurred in defending title to the factory premises revenue expenditure incurred the purpose of business and therefore allowable as a deduction, since the legal fees is already debited to P&L account. No further assessment is to be required. Okay, hope so up to this was super clear to you guys. So yes, let's do the further point, guys. This is something new for us. The profit of rupees 3 lakh from the hedging contract is entered. Okay, and into the meeting out of loss in the foreign currency payment toward import of the machinery purchased from the Germany, of which is the amount is 90 lakh. So the profit amount is 3 lakh and the import machinery from Germany is cost 90 lakh. Okay, and it is installed in 20th December. So definitely we'll get a depreciation wala amount now, but before that we are going to get some other treatment. Okay, this profit from hedging contract is to be reduced. Okay, item credited to statement of P&L but not included in business income. In this part we are going to reduce the profit from the hedging contract. Okay, so what about the depreciation wala part? Okay, so there are two part, guys, as I told you. This working part wala, ठीक है, we'll do it later. Okay, we'll do it later, ये वाले parts, ठीक है. Okay, let me take a different color so not to get any confusion. We'll do it in this wala part. Okay, so don't get any confusion here. So yes, we have done only one part here. Okay, कौन सा वाला part? This 3 lakh वाला part. ये रहा, ठीक है. So we have reduced this 3 lakh. This is the profit of 3 lakh from the hedging contract. But there is one more adjustment. Okay, adjustment of depreciation wala part. So don't get any confusion. We'll do it. Okay. So yes, let's go for the other point. This point says the company during the year employ 100 new workers in the factory, which was 15% of the existing workforce employed on the last day during the earlier year, and it paid 15 lakh as additional work wages. Okay, so there is 100 workers, 15 lakh. Okay, so we know as we are going to get the deduction under section 80JJAA. Okay, so what would be the deduction under this section? ये वाला part. ठीक है, ये वाला part. Let's go for working note number 14. We know the treatment well, guys. So the working note says Preetham Motor is eligible for the deduction under section 80JJAA, as we know this, but we have actually not covered this section. ठीक है, I have not covered deduction वाला chapter. ठीक है, so hope so you know this part. Okay, it is subject to the tax audit under section 44AB for the assessment year 23-24 as the turnover exceeds rupees 1 crore and it has employed additional employees during this year. ठीक है, so the additional wage was कितना? 15 lakh. So 30% of this 15 lakh additional wages is going to be deduction under section 80JJAA. ठीक है, so 15 lakh का 30% is going to be 4,50,000. Yes, so we are going to get the deduction 80JJAA में, okay, of 4,50,000 being 30% of the additional wage. Okay, so hope so this part was also clear to you. Okay, so ये रहा हमारा ये वाला part. Let's take the different color not to get any confusion, guys. So yes, hope so up to this is clear, guys, now. So let's go for the other point. ये वाला part says the profit of sale of land 20 lakh. Okay, the same treatment as the profit of hedging contract wala 3 lakh, where we have deducted the profit, right? In this case, profit from the land which is also to be reduced, deducted. Okay, yes, so here we have taken that ये वाला part, this, okay, sale on land, profit on sale of land. Let's go for the 13th working note. This says profit on sale of land is chargeable to tax under capital gain. We know this, right? Since the same is credited in P&L account, so it is to be reduced. Okay, so hope so this point was also clear to you. There is one more treatment, so we'll do it in capital gain wala when we will compute income from capital gain wala part. Okay, so there is few more things which is to be done. Okay, okay, so let's go for the other points, guys. Hope so up to this is clear now. Yes, let's go for the 12th point. Provision for warranty is made for all the vehicles sold on the scientific and reliable basis for the replacement of some spare fees of free of cost, and the statistical data indicates that without such warranty no customer is prepared to buy any of the vehicles. Okay, let's go for the additional information. The normal depreciation, here comes the depreciation वाला point. ठीक है, normal depreciation allowable कितना है 22 lakh. Okay, so and one more thing, additional depreciation they have not taken, so we have to compute the additional depreciation also. कौन सा वाला part, वो 90 lakh वाला ना, जर्मनी से जो अपन ने import किया था. हाँ जी, so yes, here we are going to compute the depreciation. Depreciation के लिए let's go for the working note number 11. Okay, okay जी, so here we have depreciation वाला part. Okay, before doing that let me read working note 10, hedging contract wala. Hedging contract is entered into the safeguarding against any of the loss that may arise due to the currency fluctuation. The profit from such contract enter into the meeting loss in foreign currency payment toward the import machinery has to be adjusted against the cost of plant and machinery as a provision of section 35A. So which means we are going to do the adjustment. कौन सा वाला, the profit of 3 lakh, right, which is to be adjusted against the cost of plant of machinery due as the provision of 43A says to calculate the actual cost of plant and machinery. ठीक है, since such amount has to be credited to P&L account, the same is to be deducted. Okay, so since there is a reduction cost of plant and machinery of hedging profit which is of 3 lakh, which is to be added back to the depreciation. Okay, as per the Income Tax Act 1961. So this is what, this is the actual amount of depreciation which is already mentioned in book, ठीक है, which mentioned in the question. ठीक है, let me read it again so that you are not going to get any of the confusion here. ठीक है, this वाला part, this is the normal depreciation allowable, right, as per Income Tax Act 22 lakh, which we know what we have to do the adjustment, which is to be reduced, right? Yes, so hope so this part was clear. There was not anything na much in the question. So yes, 11th wala part says this profit wala part which is to be reduced from this depreciation. As we know, the machinery was installed on December, which is less than 180 days, right? So yes, if it is installed and put to use less than 180 days, then what we are going to get, 50% of the depreciation, right? So yes, 50% of 15% is going to be 7.5%. 3 lakh ka 7.5% is going to be 22,500. ठीक है, which is to be reduced from this part. So what is going to be our, yes, so yes, we are going to reduce this 22,000 from 22 lakh. Okay, 22,500 from 22 lakh. Okay, so here is going to be our depreciation rate, 22 21,77,500. 21,77,500 is going to be our depreciation amount. There was no confusion now. Okay, so let's go for the additional depreciation now. As we know, we haven't get any of the depreciation additional, we have not taken in the question, so we have to compute this additional depreciation. Okay, so the working note 12 says, since the plant and machinery was purchased and put on 2022, it was put to use for less than 180 days, which means, and we know what is going to be rate of additional depreciation, it's going to be 20%, right? As it is used for less than 180 days, right? What is going to be additional rate? 50% of 20%, right? Which is going to be 10%, right? And 10% of what? The cost of asset, the cost of plant and machinery. Cost of plant and machinery was 90 lakh, which is mentioned in the question, but the profit which was included, profit from hedging contract, right, which was of 3 lakh, right, which is to be reduced. 90 lakh less 3 lakh, which is going to be 87 lakh. So the additional depreciation is going to be computed on 87 lakh. 10% of 87 lakh, 10% of 87 lakh. Hope so this point was clear ना. Do you need any explanation? Let me say it again. कोई बात नहीं, चलो ठीक है. Let me read the question first. Don't get confusion ना, ऐसे अच्छे बच्चे नहीं करते ना, दोबारा पढ़ते हैं अपन. चलो, where is that? ये रहा. Let me rub. यहाँ पे बहुत कचरा हो गया ना. Okay, जी. Let me take the other pen. Yes, the profit of 3 lakh, the profit of 3 lakh from the hedging contract enter into the meeting out of loss in the foreign currency payment toward the import machinery which is purchased from 90 lakh. Okay, so I know there is a depreciation which is to be add back, which is to be reduced, right? And in the question we have given this 22 lakh which is to be reduced. This is the depreciation as per income tax, which is to be reduced, right, for computing the business income. We know this. Okay, so from this 22 lakh we have to reduce something, and what is that? The profit. ये रहा profit. ठीक है, profit is of 3 lakh. 3 lakh का कितना percent we are going to reduce? ठीक है, 7.5%, being 50% or 15%, as the machinery was put and installed and used after the, which is less than 180 days, right, which was on 20 December. So the machinery was put and used for less than 180 days. So yes, we are going to take 50% of the depreciation only. We are going to claim 50% of the depreciation only. So yes, from this we are going to reduce that amount. From कौन सा वाला depreciation वाला 22 lakh वाले में से we are going to reduce 3%, 3 lakh into 7.5%. Hope so this point was clear. Okay, second treatment says, the question mentioned we have not claimed the additional depreciation. In that case, the company have to take the additional depreciation right now. The cost of plant and machinery is 90 lakh. For claiming the additional depreciation, we have to take the cost of machinery. This profit is to be reduced. 90 lakh less 3 lakh, right, which is 87 lakh. Okay, and we know the additional depreciation rate is 20%, and in this case we are only going to take the 10%. 50% of 20% is going to be 10%, being it is used less than 180 days, right? The machinery is used for less than 180 days in the previous year. So yes, so what is going to be the additional depreciation? 8,70,000, being 10% of 87 lakh. ठीक है, so there was no confusion now, है ना? Hope so everything is clear ना? अच्छे बच्चे हैं भाई हम तो. So ये रहा अपना 8,70,000. And what about this 5 lakh? As I, एक second. Okay, sorry. As I said, this 5 lakh is 25% of क्या? Intangible asset, right? Being intangible asset का depreciation is going to be 25%, right? So yes, this we have taken here. Okay, so yes, everything is super clear na? Yes, sub easy है, there is nothing much. Okay, let's go for the other point. The land, the land sold during the year is 70 lakh. I know what we are going to take this, ठीक है, and I have already given the explanation. Okay, so yes, and the value is going to be, actual value is going to be 60 lakh. I think I should rub this ना, ज़्यादा खुचर मुचर कुछ नहीं चाहिए अपने को. Okay, so yes, this actual cost is going to be 60 and cost of inflation index on 2014-15 is 240, 22-23 is 331. So yes, let's go for the last adjustment, guys. Okay, yes, we have taken this value as we know 110%, है ना, 70 lakh. Okay, no problem. So what is this 50 lakh now? As I told you, the profit was of कितना? Okay, आ जाओ, वापस आओ, ऐसे ना घूमने का नहीं है कीरा. प्रॉफिट ऑन सेल ऑफ लैंड. ओके, मिटा दो यहाँ पे, ये रहा. ओके, सो दिस पार्ट प्रॉफिट ऑन सेल ऑफ लैंड इज 20 लाख. ओके, सो यस, ये रहा वाला पार्ट 70 लाख एज द कॉस्ट ऑफ प्लांट, कॉस्ट ऑफ लैंड व्हाट आई हैव टेकन इज 70 लाख. ये रहा ना, जी हाँ, ठीक है. सो 50 लाख इंटू 331 इंडेक्स वैल्यू, ठीक है, डिवाइड बाय 240 इन विच इट वॉज परचेज्ड, ठीक है, एंड इट इज सोल्ड, ठीक है. सो येस, 50 लाख being that value we know, ठीक है, and divide by ये. Okay, so we'll get 6895,833. Okay, hope so everything is clear, which is to be reduced from 70 lakh na. So we'll get 104,167. Yes, okay, hope so up to this everything, every single thing was clear. Okay, so yes, there was nothing anything much about the question. So let's do the very quick calculation. Okay, yes. So as I have said that this is the net profit 150 lakh which is to be add back, right, which is added. Okay, and other adjustment is to be add back in this case 20 lakh being the one time license. Okay, 50,000 expenditure which is not allowable. Okay, 2 lakh कौन सा रेलवे वाला ड्यू डेट से पहले अगर we have paid, in that case we'll get a deduction, otherwise no बाबा, no. ठीक है, contribution वाला, ठीक है, scientific research, yes it's going to be allowable. Depreciation we know 20 lakh add back करो. Closing stock and opening stock का difference ले लो, ठीक है, in this case it was overvalued ना, ठीक है. And cash payment as it exceeds the limit of 10,000 we are going to be add back, ठीक है. Legal fees is going to be the revenue expenditure, it's going to be allowable, ठीक है. 44,80,000. okay जी, okay. 150 lakh which is to be add back will get 194,800. Okay, from this we are going to reduce the dividend received from the foreign company. Okay, from this definitely profit from the hedging and profit from that is to be reduced. So 159,800 is the amount. And other than this we have to reduce the depreciation of 5 लाख. कौन सा 25% वाला ना, कौन सा 25% वाला, ये रहा ना one time वाला, ठीक है. Okay, being it was installed for and used for more than 180 days now, so we are going to take the full, ठीक है, 25%. Okay, and what about the depreciation, ये वाला part, as I told you there was the adjustment, right, and additional depreciation. So there are two depreciation, one is normal depreciation and the second is the additional depreciation. So 1 to 4, 3 to 500 is going to the profit and gain from the business and profession. What of the capital gains? As I told you, the profit from capital gain is going to 104,1, एक second, okay, 104,167. Okay, so yes, from this we have to add the dividend received from the foreign company. Okay, it's going to be 136,86,667. And what is going to be reduction under section 80JJAA is going 30% wala na, yes, which is to be reduced 4,50,000. 132,36,670, which is round off actually, ठीक है. So this is the total income. Okay, 132,36,670. Okay, from this there is some different taxable rate. Okay, 30% we have assumed is, as the question is saying something about the taxable rate, are they having the turnover exceeds 400 crore, as they have not mentioned anything, so we are going to assume it exceeds the limit specified, okay, as per the limit. So for the remaining section, for the remaining business income and all, they are going to be taxable the rate of 30% for the capital gain, right. As in this case the capital gain, the long term capital gain exceeds 1 lakh, ठीक है, in this case the taxable rate is going to be 20%, ठीक है. So from this 132,36,670 we are going to reduce the 104,170, ठीक है. So for this we are going to taxable at the rate of 30%, so we'll get 139,39,750, 39,39,750, ठीक है. For this amount 104,170 at the rate of 20% will get the taxable rate of amount of 20,834. ठीक है, so yes, the taxable rate would amount would be 39,60,584. in this we are going to add the surcharge, being this is the total income exceed the 1 crore but which is less than 10 crore. ठीक है, in this case what is going to be the taxable rate for the surcharge is going to be 7%, right? So yes, total we have 42, 37, 825. in this we are going to add the HEC. Hope so up to this everything was clear. ठीक है, so yes, 44,07,340 is going to be taxable liability, 44,07,340. ठीक है, hope so everything is clear now guys. I've covered almost, I mean I've covered 3 illustration and hope so you get something, right? So yes, this is the end of this chapter. Now we'll start the new chapter now guys. Congratulations to us, yippee. ठीक है, so yes, what you have to do your revision, stay consistent, stay hydrated, पानी पियो, खूब जियो, खूब क्वेश्चंस करो, खूब मज़े करो. मज़े इन द सेंस बाहर ज़्यादा नहीं जाना, अपने को पढ़ाई पे फोकस करना है. ठीक है, डू योर कंप्लीट योर टारगेट्स, डेली टारगेट्स you have to complete it. ठीक है, and yes, nothing much, just calm. ठीक है, stay concentrated and stay consistent, that's the only mantra. patience, उसके अलावा कुछ नहीं करना अपने को. ठीक है, तब तक के लिए खुश रहो, मस्त रहो, जिंदा रहो. okay, so this is Soumya Santosh. We'll meet in the next video. Toodles guys.